There it is, our happy music for the reading of the Bhaktyaloka. I'm hearing it again in my headphones, though I shouldn't. I wonder what's going on. Nope. Oh, I know why. I've got it playing over here. There we go. Okay. Gee, great. Too many things happening at once. Let me know. Let me know if you're getting an echo. Now I have to wait because I screwed that up. I didn't realize that I had this live stream open somewhere else and I didn't pause it, and so then that picks things up and I can tend to get on a loop. So I closed that, and hopefully that'll go away after a few seconds. So far no one's saying anything. I'll just wait. Okay, everything sounds good. Okay, so today we are continuing. I'm excited. Last week was so good. Bhaktivinoda Thakura really is clearing the path of devotional service, making it really clear and easy to understand. Last week was confidence, which boiled down to confidence in what is being stated and explained by the spiritual master in three specific areas. Well, it's the spiritual master, scriptures, and the saintly people, but in three specific areas, in Sambandha, in Abhideya, and Prayojana. If we have faith or confidence that what has been given by the Parampara, then we'll be able to proceed on the path of devotional service. Kind of like that. And the details were pretty amazing about the different subject matters within those three main areas. So at any rate, this time, Wednesday, is Dhairya, which means patience. And then the other one is Tat-tat karma Pravartana, various activities favorable for devotional service. So I won't explain anything, we'll just read, because that's what this is really all about, just purifying the airwaves, purifying our minds and our hearing process by hearing about Krishna and Krishna's philosophy. So thank you for everyone for tuning in live and later on in the recording. So here we go. Dhairya, patience. Patience. For the practitioner of devotional service, Dhairya, patience, is extremely necessary. Those who possess the quality of Dhairya are called dhira, sober. Due to lack of this quality, men become restless. Those who are impatient cannot do any work. But the quality of Dhairya, by the quality of Dhairya, a practitioner controls first himself and then the whole world. In the first verse of Sri Upadeshamrta, the symptoms of Dhairya are explained. Vacho vegam manasakroda vegam, jivha vegam udarapasta vegam, etan vegam yo vishaheta dhira sarvam api mam prativimsa shishyat. Quote, a sober person who can tolerate the urge to speak, the mind's demands, the actions of anger, and the urges of the tongue, belly, and genitals, is qualified to make disciples all over the world. Unquote. There are 6 types of urges, namely, the urges of speech, mind, anger, belly, tongue, and genitals. With a desire to speak more, a person becomes talkative. If speech is not regulated, then enmity arises from talking about others. To speak uselessly is the business of a fool, but out of a desire to unnecessarily engage in speech, the materialists always waste time and face so many distresses. Pious people observe Mauna-vrata, or silence, in order to get rid of this disturbance. That is why the rishis have made provisions for observing various vows like Mauna-vrata. The practitioners of devotional service should not speak unnecessarily. The practitioners of devotional service should not speak. If you do have to speak unnecessarily, better to keep quiet. Besides topics regarding Krishna, all other topics are unnecessary. Well, do you believe that? Do you have confidence in that? But to speak about the subjects favorable to devotional service is not unnecessary. Therefore, devotees should speak only on topics about Lord Hari, or those favorable to such topics. All other topics will be counted in the category of the urge to speak. One who is able to control the urge to speak is a sober person. So immediately he's making a distinction between matter and spirit, saying that all topics other than topics that are in connection with Krishna consciousness, they are all in the category of matter, or the urge to speak. In Krishna consciousness, the urges of Krishna consciousness are not considered urges in the sense of material urges, which one is kind of forced to do due to frustration. The urges in Krishna consciousness are performed due to the enthusiasm and love that one has for Krishna. So it's not an urge in the sense that it's being used in the the Upadeshamrta. So therefore, topics that are not about Krishna are under the category of things that are the urge to speak, or material things. So it is the duty of a sober person to tolerate the urge of the mind. Until one is habituated to control the urge of the mind, how can one perform devotional service with attention? A materialist sits in the chariot of the mind and never gets relief from its various urges, except during sleep. Even during sleep, many thoughts such as good and bad dreams come. In order to regulate the urges of the mind, rishis have propounded Ashtanga yoga and Raja yoga. But the Lord's prescription is that one should regulate the mind from the inferior tastes by giving it a higher taste. Those who are on the path of devotional service can easily regulate the mind. The mind cannot remain without urges. If urged towards spiritual subjects, the mind is properly engaged, and it will not hanker for insignificant subjects. Many people think that without Ashtanga yoga, there is no alternative to regulate the mind. But Patanjali Muni has accepted that just as Ashtanga yoga regulates the mind, Bhakti-yoga can also. Meditation on the Supreme Lord, as propounded by Patanjali, is not pure devotional service. Rather, it is some sakama bhakti, or motivated. If devotional service is performed for the purpose of regulating the mind, then it is certainly not devoid of material desires. Favorable cultivation of devotional service in relationship to Krishna is the real meaning of pure bhakti. Therefore, whenever pure devotional service is performed, joyfulness of the mind automatically arises from amongst extraneous fruits. Srimad Bhagavatam 7.132 states, Tasmad kenyapyupayena mana krishne niveshayet. Quote, somehow or other, one must consider the form of Krishna very seriously. Unquote. If one follows this instruction, then the mind will be engaged at the lotus feet of Krishna and will not easily wander into other subjects. For the practitioner, the urge of the mind is regulated by pure cultivation of favorable devotional service in relationship to Krishna. By carefully meditating on this subject, one can know the inherent differences between yoga and bhakti. To restrain the urge of anger is compulsory for those who are thirsty for devotional service. Anger arises when a man's lust is unfulfilled. When one is angry, the result gradually leads one to ruination. It is said in the Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila 19:149, Krishna Bhakta Nishkama Atta Eva Santa. Quote, because a devotee of Lord Krishna is desireless, he is peaceful. Unquote. No insignificant lust can remain in the heart of one who relishes pure devotional service. Therefore, there is no possibility of anger arising in his mind. Those whose devotional service is motivated cannot conquer anger. Those whose devotional service is motivated cannot conquer anger. It is not possible to conquer anger by intelligence alone. In a very short time, attachment for sense enjoyment overcomes the function of the intelligence and gives anger a place in its kingdom. It is seen in the song of the Avanti Brahmana from the Srimad Bhagavatam that he was able to quickly control anger. Sanskrit here, quote, O Uddhava, seeing him as an old, dirty beggar, rowdy persons would dishonor him with many insults. Some of those persons would take away his sannyasi rod, and some the water pot which he was using as a begging bowl. Some took his deer-skin seat, some his chanting beads, and some would steal his torn, rugged clothing. Displaying these things before him, they would pretend to offer them back, but then would hide them again. When he was sitting on the bank of a river, about to partake of the food that he had collected by his begging, such sinful rascals would come and pass urine on it, and they would dare to spit on his head. They would criticize and insult him, saying, This man is just a hypocrite and a cheat. He makes a business of religion simply because he lost all his wealth and his family threw him out. The Brahmana understood that all his suffering from other living beings, from the higher forces of nature, and from his own body, was unavoidable, being allotted him by providence. Unquote. See, immediately he's not blaming anybody. He's immediately taking it on himself. This is obviously a saintly position. But even a little bit of this in our own lives, brings down our karma and brings down the passion in the environment in our own lives and in the people around us. So that's the end of the quote. That Avanti mendicant then spoke the following verse in the Srimad Bhagavatam 11:23-57. Quote, I shall cross over the insurmountable ocean of nescience by being firmly fixed in the service of the lotus feet of Krishna. This was approved by the previous acharyas, who were fixed in firm devotion to the Lord, Paramatma, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Unquote. This Paramatma Nishta, being firmly fixed in the service of the lotus feet of Krishna, Paratma Nishta, is sometimes followed by householders like Janaka, and sometimes by sannyasis like Sanaka and Sanatana. In both circumstances, the Paratma Nishta is the same. Without this Paratma Nishta, one cannot cross the insurmountable ocean of nescience. Service to Lord Mukunda is the only shelter. One will be delivered by accepting that. We can clearly see from this song of the Avanti Brahmana that it is impossible to cross the material ocean by the process of yoga. By unflinching devotion to Krishna, everything is achieved. One who can control the urge of speech, mind, and anger by devotional service is called dhira, or sober. It is everyone's duty to subdue the urge of the tongue. Materialistic persons are always busy trying to enjoy the 6 kinds of tastes by chewing, sucking, and so on. Quote, Today I will enjoy spiced rice with non-veg. Today I will endeavor for kitri. Today I will enjoy the finest drinks. Unquote. Hankering like this, the materialist always wanders. The more the tongue eats, the more its hankering increases. For those who wander for the pleasure of the tongue, attaining Krishna is very difficult. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has said in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, quote, If a renunciant is eager for his tongue to taste different foods, his spiritual life will be lost, and he will be subservient to the tastes of his tongue. The duty of a person in the renounced order is to chant the Hare Krishna mantra always. He should satisfy his belly with whatever vegetables, leaves, fruits, and roots are available. One who is subservient to the tongue, and who thus goes here and there, devoted to the genitals and the belly, cannot attain Krishna." Unquote. One should fill his belly with whatever is easily available. By offering Krishna foods in the mode of goodness and honoring them as prasada, the tongue is satisfied and service to Krishna is cultivated. If palatable prasad is easily available, then the tongue's greed will gradually be controlled rather than increased. The urge of the belly is a disturbance. The requirement of the stomach is to eat for the maintenance of the life and mitigation of hunger. Those who are thirsty for devotional service should maintain their life by moderate eating. Those who endeavor to overeat are called gluttons. One of the qualities of a devotee is mitta bhuk, eating what is necessary. By eating less, the body remains healthy and does not disturb one's devotional service. Those who have no strength to tolerate the urge of the stomach are always greedy to eat. Those who are firmly convinced that nothing can be eaten besides Krishna Prasad are especially able to tolerate the urge of the belly. Restrictions like fasting on prescribed days are also models of instruction for controlling the urge of the stomach. The urge of the genitals is formidable for persons who are adverse to the Lord. In Srimad Bhagavatam 11.5.11 it is said, "Loke vyavayas vayamisha madhya seva nityahi jantor nahi tatra chodana." Quote, in this material world, the conditioned soul is always inclined to sex, meat eating, and intoxication. Therefore, religious scriptures never actually encourage such activities. Unquote. The purport of this statement from the Srimad Bhagavatam is confidential. Those who possess a material body made of flesh and blood are always inclined to associate with women. And for the women out there, you can say the opposite. So I'll read it again with the opposite. Those who possess a material body made of flesh and blood are always inclined to associate with men. To minimize this inclination, the marriage ceremony is recommended. Those who wish to get free from the codes of marriage are almost like animals. But those who have crossed beyond the rules of this natural inclination by the association of devotees and the strength of their service, and have thus attained attraction for spiritual subject matter, for them association with the opposite sex is very insignificant. Persons who are filled with attachment for material enjoyment can never tolerate the urge of the genital. Many of them engage in illicit activities. Regarding this propensity, those who thirst for devotional service are divided into two groups. Those whose attraction has been purified by the strength of Sadhu-sanga give up the association of women or men altogether and continually engage in devotional service. Persons in this group are known as renounced Vaishnavas. Those whose propensity for associating with women has not been destroyed accept the codes of marriage and remain as householders while engaging in devotional service. Associating with women as prescribed in the scriptures. Associating with women as prescribed in the scriptures means to control the urge of the genitals. So, when one properly tolerates the above-mentioned 6 urges, that is favorable for his devotional service. And when those urges are strong, that is unfavorable for one's devotional service. To subdue these 6 urges is called Dhairya. As long as one has a material body, these propensities cannot be totally uprooted, but by properly engaging them in their appropriate subjects, they no longer remain faulty. Therefore, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakura has written in his Prema Bhakti Chandrika as follows. It's a lot of Bengali, so I'll just read this translation here. Quote, "I will engage lust, anger, greed, illusion, madness, envy, and pride in appropriate ways, and by defeating these enemies, I will feel happiness in my heart as I peacefully worship Govinda. I will engage lust by offering it in Krishna's service. Anger I will direct towards those who are envious of the devotees. I will be greedy to hear the topics of Hari and the association of devotees. I will feel illusioned without achieving my worshipable Lord. I will be maddened while singing the glories of Krishna. In this way, I will engage these enemies in their proper places." Unquote. The confidential meaning of this song is that the duty of an intelligent person is to direct these urges away from their respective subjects and make them favorable to devotional service. That can only be done with patience. There's another meaning applicable to the word Dhairya. Those who engage in sadhana desire to attain the results. Karmis hope to attain heavenly happiness by fruitive activities. Jnanis hope to attain liberation by speculative knowledge. And devotees hope to please Krishna by their devotion. Being impatient due to prolonged sadhana, some people fall from the path of the ultimate goal. Therefore, a practicing devotee who desires to achieve his goal attains that result only when he becomes patient. Quote, "Krishna must be merciful to me either today or after 100 years, or in some other birth. I will take shelter of his lotus feet with determination and never leave." Unquote. This type of dhairya, patience, is most desirable for practitioners of devotional service. So, Jai, that ends the section on Dhairya. I was wondering if he was going to talk about sadhana bhakti, because Dhairya, as he's given, mostly, spent all the time outlining what was the first verse in Upadeshamrta. So that's kind of interesting. But then at the very end, he did explain the typical understanding of patience that we have doing devotional service in such a way that we don't become discouraged if we don't achieve what we're looking for immediately or what we're after immediately. So that's very good. Okay, so let's do the next part. Tat-tat karma pravartana, various activities favorable for devotional service. So let's go. Okay, so Srila Rupa Goswami has enjoined the system of Tat-tat karma pravartana, acting according to the regulative principles for those aspiring to perform devotional service. In the Upadeshamrta, activities by which pure devotional service is cultivated are called Tat-tat karma. Prescribed duties. Krishna tells Uddhava in the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 11, Chapter 19, Text 20 through 24. He says, quote, "Firm faith in the blissful narrations of my pastimes, constant chanting of my glories, unwavering attachment to ceremonial worship of me, praising me through beautiful hymns, great respect for my devotional service, offering obeisances with the entire body, performing first-class worship of my devotees, consciousness of me and all living entities, offering of ordinary bodily activities in my devotional service, offering words to describe my qualities, offering the mind to me, rejection of all material desires, giving up wealth for my devotional service, renouncing material sense gratification and happiness, and performing all desirable activities, such as charity, sacrifice, chanting, vows, and austerity, with the purpose of achieving me. These constitute actual religious principles, by which those human beings who have actually surrendered themselves to me automatically develop love for me. What other purpose or goal could remain for my devotees?" Unquote. Based on these instructions of the Lord, Srila Rupa Goswami has divided these activities into 64 items in his Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Wow, 64. Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami has written about those activities in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila 22, 115 to 129 as follows. Quote, "On the path of regulative devotional service, one must observe the following items." These are the most... Oh no, anyway. Following items. 1. One must accept a bona fide spiritual master. 2. Accept initiation from him. 3. Serve him. 4. Receive instructions from the spiritual master and make inquiries in order to learn devotional service. 5. Follow in the footsteps of the previous acharyas and follow the directions given by the spiritual master. Continuing, quote, the next steps are as follows. 6. One should be prepared to give up everything for Krishna's satisfaction, and one should also accept everything for Krishna's satisfaction. 7. One must live in a place where Krishna is present, a city like Vrindavan or Mathura, or a Krishna temple. 8. One should acquire a livelihood that is just sufficient to keep body and soul together. Not more. That goes back to Niyamagraha. 9. One must fast on Ekadashi day. Continuing, quote, one should worship Dhatri trees, banyan trees, cows, brahmanas, and devotees of Lord Vishnu. One should avoid offenses against devotional service and the holy name. Quote, the 12th item is to give up the company of non-devotees. 13. One should not accept an unlimited number of disciples. 14. One should not partially study many scriptures just to be able to give reference and expand explanations. So, the only point here is that one should study scripture for the purpose of expanding their love for Krishna, not just to, I know so many verses and I can make new explanations. That's what this is getting at. We talked about this sort of thing in Niyamagraha. Okay, 15. The devotee should treat loss and gain equally. 16. The devotee should not be overwhelmed by lamentation. 17. The devotee should not worship demigods, nor should he disrespect them. Similarly, the devotee should not study or criticize other scriptures. 18. The devotee should not hear Lord Vishnu or his devotees blasphemed. 19. The devotee should avoid reading or hearing newspapers or mundane books that contain stories of love affairs between men and women, or subjects palatable to the senses. 20. Neither by mind nor words should the devotee cause anxiety to any living entity, regardless of how insignificant he may be. After one is established in devotional service, the positive actions are 1. Hearing, 2. Chanting, 3. Remembering, 4. Worshipping, 5. Praying, 6. Serving, 7. Accepting servitorship, 8. Becoming a friend, and 9. Surrendering fully. One should also dance before the deity, sing before the deity, open one's mind to the deity, offer obeisances to the deity, stand up before the deity and the spiritual master, just to show them respect, follow the deity or the spiritual master, and visit different places of pilgrimage or go to see the deity in the temple. This is Lord Chaitanya speaking. This is all quotes. So it continues. One should circumambulate the temple, recite various prayers, chant softly, japa, chant congregationally, kirtan, smell the incense and flower garlands offered to the deity, and eat the remnants of food offered to the deity. One should attend arti and festivals, see the deity, present what is very dear to oneself to the deity, meditate, and serve those related to the Lord. Tadiya means the tulsi leaves, the devotee of Krishna, the birthplace of Krishna, Mathura, in the Vedic literature, Srimad Bhagavatam. Krishna is very eager to see his devotees serve Tulsi, Vaishnavas, Mathura, and Bhagavatam. So 31. One should perform all endeavors for Krishna. 32. One should look forward to his mercy. 33. One should partake in various ceremonies with devotees, ceremonies like Lord Krishna's birthday or Ramachandra's birthday. 34. One should surrender to Krishna in all respects. 35. One should observe particular vows like Kartik Vrata. These are some of the 64 important items of devotional service. Quote, one should associate with devotees, chant the holy name of the Lord, hear Srimad Bhagavatam, reside at Mathura, and worship the deity with faith and veneration. Quote, these 5 limbs of devotional service are the best of all. Even a slight performance of these 5 awakens love for Krishna. Unquote. So that's the end of Lord Chaitanya's instructions there. But the 5 most powerful ones: associate with devotees, chant the holy name of the Lord, hear Srimad Bhagavatam, reside at Mathura, and worship the deity with faith and veneration. And I've also heard this reside at Mathura means to reside in a holy place, so in a temple of Krishna or something like that. You can make your home a temple for Krishna. And this is very good. So unquote. Now Bhaktivinoda Thakura continues, aspiring devotees should first take shelter of the lotus feet of a bona fide guru. Without taking shelter of a guru, one cannot achieve anything auspicious. There are 2 types of people. One has developed intelligence, and one has undeveloped intelligence. Those whose intelligence is undeveloped are absorbed in the so-called happiness of this world. If by chance they get the association of a Mahajana, then they also become intelligent. Then they consider, quote, how fortunate I am. I'm always engaged in sense gratification. I'm passing my days hankering for material enjoyment. Unquote. This initial association with a great soul is also called association with the Guru by hearing. By good fortune at this time, faith is awakened. When faith is awakened, one endeavors for devotional service. Then it is essential for one to take shelter of the lotus feet of a Guru. In this way, by good fortune, persons with undeveloped intelligence become intelligent and take shelter of the lotus feet of a Guru. So you can see here that the Vedic standard of intelligence is one engaging in material activities, or are they attracted to material activities, or are they attracted to spiritual activities? And this is the real kind of gauge of intelligence. Ultimately, because intelligence really means the ability to solve problems, and after all, the panacea to solve problems is spiritual realization, because all of our problems are due to us being in contact and identifying with this body. So real intelligence means ultimately, therefore, to be engaged in Krishna consciousness, or the pinnacle of intelligence is like that. So, what type of guru one should take shelter of is explained in the Shastras. One who has conquered the 6 enemies beginning with lust, one who is pure, one who performs devotional service on the path of raga, one who is Brahminical, one who knows the clear path of the Vedas, one who sadhus can respect as guru, one who is able to control the senses, one who is merciful to all living entities, one who is cultured, one who is without duplicity, and one who is truthful. This type of householder is fit to be a guru. All these qualities are considered in 2 ways. The principal quality of a guru is attachment to Krishna, and detachment for what is not related with Krishna. All other qualities are secondary. That is why Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has said in the Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela 8.127, Kiba Vipra Kiba Nasi Shudra Kena Naya Ye Krishna Tattva Veta Se Guru Haya. Quote, whether one is a Brahmana, a sannyasi, or a Shudra, regardless of what he is, he can become a spiritual master if he knows the science of Krishna. There's all the qualifications there. That's good. If one possesses this principal symptom of a guru, then he is eligible to be a guru, even though he lacks 1 or 2 secondary symptoms. Being a Brahmana and being a householder are counted as secondary symptoms. It is good if a person possesses these 2 secondary symptoms along with the principal qualification. Well, that's interesting how he says that. Being a householder is one of the good qualifications, huh? Usually we think of gurus as being renounced sannyasis or something. But those who are defective in the principal symptom are unqualified to be gurus, even though they possess the other 2. So that list of what type of guru one should take shelter of, those are the secondary things. The main thing is attachment to Krishna. Because sometimes as attachment to Krishna goes, sometimes one does certain things, I suppose, that are not fully clear. Like being merciful to other living entities. Sometimes to a disciple, Prabhupada was kind of harsh with them, trying chastising or something. And one might think, oh, that's not merciful. But that's a special kind of mercy. To break one out of their false ego. As stated in Sri Padma Purana, quote, among all human beings, the Brahmana, who is a Mahabhagavat, or a great devotee, is topmost and qualified as Guru. He is as worshipable as Lord Hari. A non-Vaishnava is never fit to be Guru, even if he has taken birth in a great family, performed all sacrifices, and studied many branches of the Vedas. Whoa, boom, that's from Padma Purana. So that's not even, like Padma Purana everybody reads from, that's not even considered like a Vaishnava scripture. And the, in the typical sense, like Bhagavatam, that's a Vaishnava scripture, or Bhagavad Gita. We quote that stuff all the time, but Padma Purana is a pretty well read one, and right in there it says, it says it right in there, that a non-Vaishnava is never fit to be a guru. So take that to the bank and cash it. So, unquote. After finding a qualified guru, a faithful disciple should serve him with firm conviction and without duplicity. One should accept initiation in Krishna mantra after pleasing the guru. Those who are adverse to taking initiation and only make a drama of pseudo-kirtan while advertising themselves as Vaishnavas certainly cheat themselves. It is not the duty of materialistic persons to renounce the process of initiation because a few great souls like Jada Bharat did not take initiation. Initiation is a constitutional injunction for every birth of every living entity. If initiation is not seen in the life of a perfected soul, it should not be taken as an example. General rules are not changed because something happens to a particular person in a special situation. I'm gonna cough. Okay, where am I? Sri Dhruva Maharaj went to Dhruvaloka in his material body. Seeing that, should one waste time hoping for the same? No. The general rule is a living entity gives up his material body and goes to Vaikuntha in his spiritual body. General rules should be accepted by people in general. Whenever and whatever is desired by the Lord, who is full of inconceivable potencies, that only happens. Therefore we should never transgress the general rules. After pleasing the Guru by serving him without duplicity, one should receive from him instructions on the absolute truth and initiation into chanting the holy name of the Lord. So this is the general reason why this is very conservative in the sense that we're not interested in transgressing the normal rules of nature, the normal rules of existence. We simply are accepting of what's going on in life and then do our best to please Krishna with what we're given, rather than saying, oh, we need more, or I don't like these rules, let's throw them off. One never pleased Krishna by doing that. The real point is how to please Krishna. After receiving initiation and instructions from a bona fide guru, a fortunate disciple should follow the path of the previous sadhus. Those who are proud neglect the previous mahajans and create new paths. As a result, they soon proceed on their inauspicious path and ruin themselves. It is said in the Skanda Purana, quote, one should strictly follow the easy path which the previous mahajans have accepted. That path bestows great auspiciousness and is devoid of all misery. Unquote. Sounds nice. By discussing the path of the previous sadhus, one gets determination, courage, and satisfaction. When we discuss the path of devotional service exhibited by Sri Rupa, Sri Sanatana, Sri Raghunatha, and Sri Haridas Thakur, then we feel such happiness that cannot be described. When the miscreant Mohammedans tortured Haridas Thakur, he said, quote, "Even if my body is cut into pieces and I lose my life, I will never give up chanting the Lord's holy name. O Krishna, please be merciful upon these poor souls. Kindly excuse them for their offense of torturing me." Wow. Unquote. Maintaining this type of determination and being compassionate to all living entities while always chanting the holy name of Krishna is the path of devotional service exhibited by the previous Mahajanas. A path cannot be manufactured. Whatever path is there should be accepted by sadhus. Those who are proud and want fame try vigorously to discover new paths. Those who have good fortune from past lives give up pride and respect the established path. Those who are unfortunate promenade on a new path and thus cheat the world. Regarding such persons, the Bhakti-rasamrita Sindhu 1-46 and 47 quotes Brahma Yamala as follows. Shruti Smriti Puranadi Pancharatra Vidim Vina Aikantiki Hare Bhaktir Utpaitayaiva Kalpate. And then there's just some more Sanskrit. So, quote, devotional service of the Lord that ignores the authorized Vedic literatures like the Upanishads, Puranas, and the Narada Pancharatra is simply an unnecessary disturbance in society. Such activities are born out of speculation, and therefore they only superficially resemble unalloyed devotion because they are disrespectful to the Vedic injunctions. Disrespecting Vedic injunctions falls in the category of atheism. Whenever there is disrespect for the scriptures, which are the Lord's instruction, that cannot be devotional service. Oh, that's like everybody out there who's having classes on bhakti, devotional service, blah blah blah, that they have no basis in the Upanishads, the Puranas, or the Narada Pancharatra. Narada Muni is one of our spiritual masters, and everything that we're saying is coming in line of that. I mean, I can't think of a single group of people who are quoting the Sanskrit verses from Narada Pancharatra, any of the Puranas or the Upanishads to support their understanding of bhakti. Most of the time it's some kind of sentimental concoction about what devotional service is. And even devotees who have all that information and who do have spiritual masters who quote that are bringing in all sorts of kind of sentimental ideas of devotional service. So one, who is serious must be vigilant to continue reading from the right authorities. And obviously Bhaktivinoda Thakura is this grand and recognized authority. Okay, so continuing, the purport is that although the path of devotion is of two kinds, Vaidhi and Raganuga, the previous Mahajans have clearly prescribed them according to one's qualification. These paths are explained in the scriptures, such as the Shruti Smriti and the Pancharatra. Rejecting these paths, the new path discovered by Lord Buddha and Dattatreya will ultimately create disturbance. Due to improper consideration, these new paths are advertised as unalloyed devotional service to Krishna, although they are not actually so. The proper path is exhibited in the Vedic literatures. Nowadays, many new paths are discovered, and they ultimately disappear along with their propounder. Inquiring about Sadharma, eternal religious principles, is one of the disciples' devotional duties. Therefore, Bhakti-rasamrita Sindhu 1-47 quotes the following statements from Sri Naradiya Purana. Quote, those who are anxious to awaken their spiritual consciousness, who have unflinching intelligence, and who are not deviated, certainly attain the desired goal of life. Unquote. As fortunate people wish to follow the characteristics of the sadhu's devotional service, they similarly desire to know their duty. Unfortunate, proud persons act just the opposite. As they search paths different from those of the sadhus, they disrespect the sadhus' determined conclusions while respecting their own. They do not care to preach the teachings of Mahaprabhu to the people of this world. Rather, they preach doctrines contrary to those of Mahaprabhu. They do not know how much misfortune they are creating by this. Those who are simple Those who, it's a weird sentence maybe. Those who are simple endeavor to properly learn the teachings of the Lord from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. Oh, okay. Sorry. Those who are simple endeavor to properly learn the teachings of the Lord from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. Maybe a comma is needed there. The Lord's teachings are our only life. Sadharma lies in this alone. The bona fide disciple especially tries to understand Sadharma. If he cannot understand on his own, then he prays at the feet of his Shiksha Guru and learns from him. Those who have this kind of determination know Sadharma quickly, achieve their desired goal. The Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 119 says, Anya bilashita shunyam jnana karmadi anavritam anukuyena krishnanu shilanam bhaktir uttamam. Quote, one should render transcendental loving service to the Supreme Lord Krishna favorably without desire for material profit or gain through fruitive activities or philosophical speculation. That is called pure devotional service. Unquote. As long as this pure devotional symptom in the form of understanding Sadharma is not clearly manifest in the heart of an inquisitive person, his heart remains covered with darkness, and he cannot know what is pure devotional service. If one depends on his own speculation, then unalloyed devotional service will not manifest in his heart. We meet many so-called pundits, these are learned people, pundits, who think they have understood the constitution of bhakti by their knowledge and intelligence. Some of them have concluded that devotional service mixed with jnana is pure bhakti, and some of them have concluded that devotional service mixed with karma is pure bhakti. They are so proud that if they hear the teachings of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, they say, quote, everyone can make their own conclusion. What is the need of taking the conclusion of Chaitanya Charitamrita? Unquote. These people never come in touch with the Sadharma, Dharma, because they have no desire to know it. The result of performing their own concocted new process of devotional service is they can never relish pure devotion. It is the duty of a sadhaka to give up personal enjoyment for the sake of Krishna. Sense gratification is called enjoyment. Dovetailing one's lust for sense gratification in the service of Krishna is renunciation of enjoyment. When one converts his world of enjoyment into that what is favorable for devotional service, thus giving up the spirit of enjoying those objects and accepting everything as Krishna Prasad, then this is called renunciation of enjoyment. To reside in a holy place related with Krishna is also a limb of sadhana. If one resides in Dwarka, Sri Mathura, or on the bank of the Ganges, or at pastime sites of the Lord, then one naturally remembers Krishna. What greater gain can there be than this? At every stage of life one should accept only as much wealth as needed for the practice of devotional service. By desiring more than needed, bhakti will disappear. If wealth is not accepted according to one's need, however, then the practice of devotional service will be hampered. One should carefully respect Sri Hari Vasara Ekadashi. By observing Ekadashi, all the supporting principles of devotional service are practiced. The practice of devotional service becomes continuous by giving up all enjoyment and practicing devotional service once every fortnight. Wow. For one who worships and meditates on the earth, banyan trees, tulsi, cows, brahmanas, and Vaishnavas, all his sinful reactions are diminished. By these activities one can please Krishna, because these objects are auspicious for the world. These 10 limbs of devotional service are the preliminary activities for worshipping the Lord. For those who neglect these 10 limbs, attaining devotional service and Krishna is very difficult. Therefore, those who are aspiring for devotional service should first take shelter of Sri Guru, take initiation and instruction from him, and serve him. They should also follow the behavior of the sadhus and learn the conclusions taught by the sadhus. In order to make one's life Krishna conscious, one should reside in a sacred place related to Krishna and give up the enjoyment of sense gratification for the service of Krishna. Being distracted here. Hold on. In one's ordinary dealings, one should only accept the wealth that is necessary. Necessary to favorably maintain Krishna's business. To practice devotional service, one should observe fast days like Ekadasi and Jamastami. One should respect banyan trees in order to maintain the glories of this world, which is one of the Lord's opulences. These 10 rules must be followed, and the following 10 rules must be rejected. Otherwise, the practice of devotional service will not be steady. Let's see here. Oh, it's a lot more. I'll keep reading for a little bit more. One should not associate with persons who are adverse to the Lord's service. One will have to meet such persons in his ordinary dealings, but one should deal with them only until the work is finished. After the work is finished, one should not deal with them. Those who have not had loving devotion to Krishna awaken in their heart are always proud of remaining under the shelter of jnana and karma. Therefore they are called Bhagavad Bahirmukha, adverse to Krishna. Those who worship many gods, those who are Mayavadis and thirsty for impersonal jnana, and those atheists who defy Vedic literatures are all Bhagavad Pirmukha, adverse to Krishna. God, it's so true. It's so true. If you just try to talk a little bit about Krishna with people who've never had a taste, if you explain the principles of Krishna consciousness, it's so hard for people to accept. Or they just go, oh, that's nice, you believe something nice, it's a nice. Or they just go, talk about something else. Unless someone has actually gotten some kind of taste, has awakened the kind of some love for Krishna, people don't really have any interest. It's unfortunate. That's why, you need to somehow find a way to fully engage yourself in Krishna's service if you've never been able to do that. Even if you do it for a day, there's a chance you can really awaken your love for Krishna. Or at least associate with devotees who have that. And you can get that association. Or get that taste, possibly. One whose faith in pure devotional service has not developed should not be accepted as a disciple. Otherwise, the disciplic chain of devotional service will be polluted. That's interesting. One whose faith in pure devotional service is not developed. One should give up the endeavor for starting new big projects because it diminishes one's devotion to Krishna. One should not read or explain various types of books except those which lead to the advancement of devotional service. One should discuss those scriptures wherein devotional service is instructed and explained, such as the Vedas, Smritis, Puranas, Pancharatra, and the writings of the Mahajans. From books with other opinions, only useless arguments are learned. The endeavor for food and clothing must always remain, either in household life or in renounced life. Therefore, there is a need of generosity in such dealings. According to Padma Purana, quote, the mind of one who has taken shelter of the holy name is undisturbed even if food and clothing are not easily obtained, or if they are obtained but then lost. Leaving behind all material attachments, he takes complete shelter of Govinda, unquote. The purport is that whether a sadhaka stays at home or in the forest, he will have to endeavor for food and clothing. A householder should find out his food and clothing through agricultural or business, protecting the citizens, or by serving others. A renunciant should accomplish this by begging alms. In those activities, a devotee should not be agitated if food and clothing are not obtained, or if they are obtained and then lost. He should peacefully remember Krishna. So he says, as a householder, you should just, do some work, whatever it is. Obtain money by serving others, protecting the citizens, kshatriya, doing business, agriculture, like that, educating others. Householders lament if they lose their wife, children, etc., but a practitioner of devotional service should not maintain this lamentation very long. They should quickly give up their lamentation and engage in cultivation of Krishna consciousness. A renunciate should not lament if he does not possess a quilt, a water pot, or alms, or if things are stolen by man or animal. A practicing Vaishnava should give up all urges like lamentation and anger. Otherwise, there will be obstacles in his constant remembrance of Krishna. It is explained in the Padma Purana, quote, within the heart of one who is full of anger and pride, or lamentation on the state of his wife or sons, there is no possibility of Krishna being manifest, unquote. Now remember, the whole thing about devotional service is to go back to Godhead. So all these comings and goings in the material world, just it's not useful. It's not useful for the devotee to get caught up in it. And this is, if someone is serious about devotional service, that's what this is all about: going back to Godhead, and not getting out of the material world. So those who endeavor for devotional service, getting out of the material world via loving Krishna, that's what it's really about. Those who endeavor for devotional service should only worship Krishna. They should not worship various demigods, but they should not also disrespect the demigods or the scriptures. When coming before a demigod, one should offer respect, knowing them to be Krishna's servant. In the Padma Purana it is said, quote, Krishna or Hari is the master of all demigods, and therefore he is always worshipable. But this does not mean that one should not offer respect to the demigods headed by Brahma or Shiva. Unquote. The purport is that the Supreme Lord is one, and others, Brahma and Shiva, are his qualitative incarnations, guna avatars. Particular demigods are worshipped by people according to their qualifications, but Lord Vishnu is the only worshipable Lord for people who are in the mode of goodness. After worshipping various demigods for many lifetimes, one's life becomes auspicious when he comes to the point of accepting Vishnu as the only Supreme Lord. Lord Sri Krishna is the topmost manifestation of Vishnu Tattva. When a living entity transcends the three modes by worshipping in the mode of goodness, he attains service of Lord Krishna. One should be merciful and not cause anxiety to any living entity. The heart should always be filled with compassion for others. Exhibiting mercy to all living entities is one of the limbs of devotional service. A person aspiring for devotional service should carefully practice this characteristic. Right, especially in preaching. It is most essential for an aspiring devotee to give up the 10 offenses in chanting and the offenses in the matter of serving the Lord. For ordinary devotees, there is some consideration of offenses in serving the deity of the Lord. It is not possible to give up all the offenses in serving the Lord, but one must give up some of the offenses before entering the temple. The 10 offenses and the chanting have been discussed in many places. The practitioner should carefully give up those offenses. For those who are negligent in this regard, endeavoring for devotional service becomes useless. It is written in the Padma Purana, quote, it is useless. It was written in the Padma Purana, there's no quote. The purport is that if one takes shelter of Lord Hari, then all his offenses are vanquished. All offenses committed in the service of the Lord are destroyed by taking shelter of the holy names. The holy name alone delivers the Vaishnavas. But those who have taken shelter of the holy names must give up the 10 offenses in chanting, otherwise they will surely fall down, even though they have taken shelter of the holy names. A practitioner should not allow blasphemy of Krishna or the Vaishnavas to enter his ears. Wherever such blasphemy is taking place, he should leave. Those with weak hearts who tarry out of social etiquette to hear blasphemy of Krishna or the Vaishnavas are gradually distracted from devotional service. By careful practice of the above-mentioned 20 limbs, one's bhava, devotional sentiment, is awakened. The mercy of Krishna is the root cause of awakening bhava. Without sadhu-sanga, one cannot achieve the mercy of Krishna. The principal forms of sadhu-sanga are taking shelter of the lotus feet of the spiritual master, taking initiation from him, and serving him. Among the other limbs of devotional service mentioned after these, accepting the symbols of a Vaishnava up to meditation, come under the category of archana. One should practice all these limbs of bhakti to the best of one's capacity after receiving them from the spiritual master. Servitude, friendship, and complete surrender are the activities for awakening bhava. In reality, these activities themselves become bhava. Only in the stage of sadhana are they counted as sadhana bhakti. Whatever one's most cherished items are in this world, and whatever is very dear, should be offered to Krishna. This statement has several meanings. The purport is that one should not enjoy anything just because it is very dear to oneself, but one should offer it to Krishna and enjoy it as prasada. Whatever ordinary and spiritual endeavors are there, when done for the sake of Krishna, they become auspicious. It is said in the Narada Pancharatra, as quoted in the Bhakti-rasamrita Sindhu, quote, one should perform only those activities, either worldly or prescribed by Vedic rules and regulations, which are favorable for the cultivation of Krishna consciousness. Unquote. Marriage and other purificatory ceremonies of the smartas are Vaidiki, or prescribed Vedic regulations, and social and bodily activities performed to maintain one's status quo are laukiki, or worldly. Marriage is for the establishment of Krishna's family. Producing children is for increasing Krishna's servants. Offering oblations to the forefathers is for the satisfaction of Krishna's servants. Feasting is for the gratification of Krishna's living entities. All these activities should be dovetailed in the favorable service of Krishna. Then one will not fall into the grip of unfavorable fruitive activities. The body, house, and everything else belongs to Krishna. Thinking in this way, one should protect the body, the house, and the community. This is called Krishna's family. The whole life of a practitioner should be decorated with full surrender. 6 types of surrender are explained in many places in the devotional scriptures. The life of a living entity is useless without surrender. The living entity should always worship Krishna with full surrender. Items that are related to Krishna are called tadiya. Serving tulsi is the primary form of tadiya seva. It is said in the Skanda Purana, quote, tulsi is auspicious in all respects. Simply by seeing, simply by touching, simply by remembering, simply by praying to, simply by bowing down before, simply by hearing about, simply by sowing, simply by offering water to, or simply by worshipping tulsi, there is always auspiciousness. Anyone who comes in touch with the tulsi tree in the above-mentioned 9 ways lives eternally in the Vaikuntha world. Unquote. Literatures that substantiate devotion to Krishna are counted among tadiya. Srimad Bhagavatam is the topmost amongst them. In some way, Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita commands similar respect. In the same way, Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita commands similar respect. Those who regularly read and hear these devotional scriptures are glorious. Holy places associated with Lord Krishna, such as Mathura, are appropriate residences for a practitioner. Among such places, residence in Mathura is the topmost. Residence in Sridham Navadvipa is as good. It is written in the Sri Brahmanda Purana, quote, one who hears about, remembers, glorifies, desires to achieve, sees from a distance, comes near, touches, accepts as one's shelter, and serves Mathura, achieves fulfillment of all desires. Same thing goes for Navadvip. Unquote. The devotees of Krishna are also counted among tadiya. It is written in the Adi Purana, Yo me bhakta jana parta, na me bhaktas chate jana, mad bhaktanam chaye bhaktas, tame bhakta tamamataha. Quote, Lord Krishna said to Arjuna, Those who are my direct devotees are actually not my devotees, but those who are the devotees of my devotees are factually my devotees. Unquote. In regard to serving devotees, Srila Rupa Goswami has quoted the following verse from the Adi Purana in his Bhakti-yoga Sindhu. The purport is that almost all the above-mentioned limbs of serving Krishna are accepted in the service of his devotees. The reason for the use of the word almost is that the devotees should be worshipped by offering them Krishna Prasad. All other limbs, such as offering obeisances, remain the same. The practitioner should hold festivals according to his capacity. Organizing festivals in the association of devotees is a prominent activity. However, one should be careful not to associate with non-devotees in the course of holding such festivals. That's kind of like what we were doing here for a long time. We were trying to organize the building with the idea that non-devotees would bring people that they were connected to and friends they were connected to the building, and then that would, by that connection, then they would get to know us because we were here already, and this way we create a pool of people that we had never met in Krishna's, we had never met, and they would come here, and then they would meet us, and we would bring them to Krishna. But in a sense, that's like trying to hold a festival in the association of non-devotees. It says, however, one should be careful not to associate with non-devotees in the course of holding such festivals. So it made me think of that. I think the other kind of main thing is that in the course of holding a festival for the worship of Krishna, non-devotees will not understand as much as, when it says previously trying to, have conversations with those who don't have faith in Krishna. They kind of, they don't like it. They don't like, they have no attraction for Krishna. They don't get it. So it's kind of a similar thing when we're having festivals for worshiping Krishna. When non-devotees participate, they don't necessarily get it. They need to, or the process is a little bit different for bringing people to Krishna consciousness. However, you can hold festivals for the strict purpose of bringing people to Krishna consciousness. That's kind of a different thing. My feeling here is that he's talking about holding festivals in worship of Krishna. It's a detail, but that can be made clearer. So continuing, there is a need of organizing festivals on the occasion of the Lord's appearance day. One should maintain love and devotion while serving the deity. Being attached to the impersonal aspect of the Lord, foolish people without proper consideration disrespect the deity. But if they associate with devotees and properly consider, they will see the need for serving the deity. One should relish devotional scriptures like Srimad Bhagavatam with advanced devotees. If one relishes devotional scripture with rationalists, people fond of argument, and dry speculators, then one's heart becomes dry, and the awakening of transcendental mellows does not take place. It is necessary to associate with devotees. Jnanis and karmis are not counted amongst devotees due to their illicit desires. A practitioner of devotional service should associate with more advanced persons, or affectionate, and on the same path. Otherwise, his heart will not take shelter of pure devotional service. In the Hari Bhakti Sudodaya 851, it is written, quote, as the qualities of a nearby object are reflected in crystal, one similarly takes on the qualities of a person with whom he associates. Therefore, in order to increase one's devotional sentiment in his own line, a wise person should take shelter of those who have the same temperament. Unquote. One should be particularly careful in this regard. Association with sahajas and baulas yields unfavorable results. But if one associates with pure Vaishnavas, or followers of Srila Rupa Goswami, then pure love for Krishna is awakened. Among all limbs of devotional service, association with devotees is one of the main limbs. Okay, so there's like a page and a half left, so almost there. Among all the above-mentioned limbs of devotional service, the following 5 principal items are the best of all: worshipping the deity, relishing the purport of Srimad Bhagavatam with advanced devotees, And by the way, when you read Srila Prabhupada's books, that is exactly what you're doing. He's giving purports, and he's relishing. So when you're reading and you enjoy reading Prabhupada's books, this is one of the topmost things you can do. It's actually a miracle. Prabhupada's purports. So continuing, associating with more advanced devotees who are affectionate, and in the same line, congregational chanting of the holy names, and residing in Mathura. If we further summarize, then chanting the holy names and serving the Vaishnavas are the topmost. It is written in Padma Purana, quote, O descendant of Bharata, one who has worshipped the deity of the Lord for thousands of lifetimes can always chant the holy name of Hari. Unquote. Excuse me. Also from the Padma Purana, and quoted in Bhakti-yoga Sindhu, one of my favorite verses, Nama Chintamani Krishnas Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha Purna Shuddho Nityamukto Bina Tvam Nama Nami Naho, and Atashi Krishna Namadi Na Bhaved Krayam Indriyahi Sevanamukehi Jivado Svayamiva Spuratyadaha. Two of my favorite verses. Quote, the holy name of Krishna is transcendentally blissful. It bestows all spiritual benedictions, for it is Krishna himself, the reservoir of all pleasure. Krishna's name is complete, and it is the form of all transcendental mellows. It is not a material name under any condition, and it is no less powerful than Krishna himself. Since Krishna's name is not contaminated by the material qualities, there is no question of its being involved with Maya. Krishna's name is always liberated and spiritual. It is never conditioned by the laws of material nature. This is because the name of Krishna and Krishna himself are identical. Therefore, material senses cannot appreciate Krishna's holy name, form, qualities, and pastimes. When a conditioned soul is awakened to Krishna consciousness and renders service by using his tongue to chant the Lord's holy name and taste the remnants of the Lord's food, the tongue is purified, and one gradually comes to understand who Krishna really is. Unquote. This is the independent mercy of the Absolute Truth. Srimathura Mandala, the holy names of the Lord, devotional scriptures like Srimad Bhagavatam, pure devotees, and deities. These 5 items are transcendental. By associating with them, a devotee quickly attains bhava, transcendental emotions, and Krishna. In the process of sadhana bhakti, these types of Vaidhi bhakti are explained. Again, Raganuga sadhana bhakti is very powerful in the process of sadhana. When one practices devotional service by following the footsteps of the residents of Vrindavan, that is called Raganuga bhakti. Persons who are endeavoring for devotional service should follow the activities of the Vrajavasis with their body, mind, and speech. According to his qualification, a practitioner should engage in whatever activities are mentioned in either the process of Vaidhi sadhana bhakti or Raganuga sadhana bhakti. Someone may attain the highest result by practicing one of the limbs, and someone may attain the highest result by practicing several limbs. The unalloyed devotion of those who have exclusively taken shelter of the service of the Lord, service of the holy names, and the Vaishnavas does not find taste in other limbs. Therefore, the practitioner should work in devotion with full surrender, enthusiasm, firm confidence, and patience. Jai. So that ends the chapter on Tat-tat karma pravartana, different auspicious things that one can do in practicing devotional service. That very last line was telling, I guess I'll read it again. The unalloyed devotion of those who have exclusively taken shelter of the service of the holy names and the Vaishnavas does not find taste in other limbs. In other words, that's all they want to do is serve the devotees and chant. If the other limbs lead them to those points, then they'll do them. But they just want to serve the devotees and chant the holy names. Therefore, the practitioner should work in devotion with full surrender, enthusiasm, right, firm confidence, and patience. These things that have been discussed earlier. Okay, so then the next time we meet here on the interwebs is we have two more sections. The very last one, following in the footsteps of the previous acharyas, is very long, so maybe I'll save that for one day. And the next one is called Sangha Tyaga. You know what Sangha means, association. Tyaga is renunciation, so giving up the association of non-devotees. You might think this was discussed previously, and it to some degree was, but it'll be interesting to see if he makes a distinction or if he just starts to explain giving up the association of non-devotees. The other one was don't associate, Janas Sangha, no, not associating with non-devotees, and this one is giving up the association of non-devotees. See if I can find it. Association with worldly persons. So one should give up the association of worldly persons, and this one is saying give up the association of non-devotees. So perhaps this is talking about people who are not worldly, but maybe are aspiring transcendentalists, but are not quite devotees, because they have different types of attachments. So at any rate, that'll be the subject matter for for Monday, I guess. We'll read again on Monday. I might even do it just on Friday, but then again, I've been reading the Bhagavatam on Friday, so I kind of like doing that too. So thanks for tuning in again, reading Bhaktyaloka, and we're almost done. A couple more chapters. I think next time, when we go to a new book, I think I'm going to do the Madhurya Kadambini. I know we typed it up and people were reading it, and now it would be nice to get it on another medium where we've read it and it's on video and people can listen to it if they want to. It would be nice to read that again after reading this, because they are similar in that they're getting into the details of devotional service and clearing out the space, and to hear that book again will be very enlivening in connection to reading this book, I think. So that and the other thing. So if there's any questions or discussion, it'd be nice if we had a discussion. We can meet all at Discord, and we can discuss more at Discord. Here is the link. If people want, so we have 4 people here. Click on the link and then establish your account, and maybe you can join us there. If you don't have headphones, you can just listen in, go to the voice, go to the main hall, quote unquote main hall, that's where the thing is, and we can discuss topics of devotional service or have questions here about what we just read, or discuss what we just read. I really just like to hear people's realizations. And for those who are not here live, not listening live, please put comments below, in the comment section. Great way to, attract attention to these posts, not for myself per se, but just so people can hear these transcendental sound vibrations that are coming from these books. From this book, it's pretty amazing and wonderful stuff if people can accept it. So thanks again, and I hope to see some of you over in the Discord chat room. The program's called Discord. Yep. Thank you very much. Until next time. Hare Krishna.